Good morning, good morning. Happy day. Welcome to another Ageless Energy Show. I'm your host, Drew Tadia. Today we have a fantastic topic coming up. I'm going to talk about 5 healthy habits that are actually sabotaging your progress. And I'm going to say healthy habits in air quotations. You may be listening as a podcast or watching on YouTube or live on our Facebook, facebook.com/trueformlife. And so some of you may be seeing me, and others may only be hearing me, regardless of where you're at. Thanks for joining this morning. I think today's an important topic, and I want to dive in here as quickly as possible. I also want to talk about some of the things that have been going on with us, like our product launch and our rewards program. So that stuff is all coming up today. Good morning, Rockin' Rowdy Rhonda. Thanks for jumping in here. If you guys are in here watching live, let me know in the comments. It's always nice to know who's in here. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can drop them below as well. So what can we do to get around partial sabotage, self-sabotage, lack of progress? I got 5 tips coming at you, and we're going to dive in right now. I'm going to try to be as efficient as possible and get you guys in and out of here and on with your day. At least where we're at, it is a beautiful day. I hope you guys get a chance to spend some time outside this weekend because it's good for your health. Number 1 is staying away from low-fat everything. I feel like there is still this stigma, is that the proper word, around fats and avoiding fats and why we shouldn't be consuming fats and that fats are going to make you fat. That gets a whole lot of nonsense happening there. So understanding that fats are actually good for you, paying attention to what types of fats they are. But I think it's worth noting that fats are super important. They're important for hormone production, brain function. Good fats burn bad fats. So across the board, your body needs fats. And I see far too many people that are avoiding fats because they're not really sure which ones to choose, why they're consuming them. It's really the lack of knowledge and balancing proper macros is the problem that I see across the board with different types of programs or lack thereof. So I can give you guys some ideas if you like. It's not I wouldn't say it's rocket science, but I certainly don't want to sound condescending. That's why you're here to learn. But like healthy fats are actual nuts and seeds, like the food. You can look at a good quality avocado oil. That one is a bit, because a lot of avocado oil has low quality oils in it. You see an avocado oil on the shelf, it only has to be 3% olive oil to be labeled olive oil. So if you're buying a low quality one, it's probably not olive oil. But you can look at avocado oil is better. MCT oil is probably my top choice. You can look at grass-fed butter, coconut oil. Those are all good ones. And you can use different types of oils at different times. For me, for example, I like to put MCT oil in my shake in the morning. I also use it after a workout. That's really good for joint health. It's good for your metabolism. It's good for brain health and cognitive function. So I really heavily sway towards MCT oil. But if you're cooking at high temperatures, like if you're cooking and you have a problem turning the dial down, because I know lots of people just cook on high, you don't want an MCT oil. You don't even want to cook with an olive oil. You want to cook with a coconut oil. A ghee has a high smoke point. You can look at grass-fed butter, but you can burn butter pretty easily. So coconut oil is probably one of the highest ones that doesn't burn. So what I'm saying is if the smoke point is low, like olive oil, MCT oil, you can burn it quite easily. And like, for example, if you're burning butter, that butter or that oil has gone rancid and now it acts as a toxin in your body. So I guess there's a lot to it, but don't overcomplicate it. Your body needs fats. Personally, I like MCT oil, like I mentioned. And then I like my favorite nut right now is Brazil nuts. And they're so good. I feel like they're like almost juicy or like moist. When you crunch on them, I feel like you can feel the oils coming out of them. And those ones are a bit easier because I will take 3 to 5 depending on the day and depending on how many fats I've had earlier that day. I'll take three, just three, and then I will carry on, close the bag, and move on. And that's good enough for me. If you take, like, almonds are a good oil, good almond as well. But if you look at almonds, they're easy to grab a handful and over calorie with almonds, which sounds odd. And it's rare that you over calorie with healthy foods. It's usually the unhealthy foods or even drinks. So I don't want to dwell on that too much. But if you want to increase your energy, improve cognitive function, set your metabolism on fire, you're looking at a high quality pure C8 MCT oil. Just pay attention to your MCT oils, because if you go to a cheap source, low quality, then you're going to find MCT oils will have palm oil in there, and then they'll have very little C8. Most of it will be C10, C12 carbons, and you're really looking for the benefits from C8. So if you want more details about that, just comment below. Rhonda says, good morning, True Form family. Good morning to you, Rhonda. Let's see. Unhealthy habit number 2 is skipping meals. So this is, how can I say this? This is one of the biggest factors in what we see our clients and members not seeing the results they want and not staying on track by missing meals. So it could be that you're getting up too late to get a proper breakfast in. If that's the case, you have to look at the night before and what does your evening routine look like. In our Metabolism Accelerator program, we talk about stacking habits. We talk about prioritizing. We have a whole workshop around prioritizing. So if there's any MAT members in here that haven't watched that training, let me know in the comments so I can send that over to you. But properly prioritizing your day. We also talk about time blocking. These are all important steps to organizing your life as a whole. It's not like, oh, get your workout in. Why aren't you eating properly? Like that's not what it's about. Like it's very simple. Like I feel like if you're in a program and you're only looking at nutrition and workouts, and that's the only thing you're focusing on, there's no deep-rooted work or training or effort that you're putting in, you're probably missing out on the big picture. And I feel like that's why we stand out a bit more, because I understand on a deeper level what's happening, like what are the reasons why we're not getting our workouts in, why are you missing your meals, and that usually happens the day before or the weekend before. So understanding that skipping meals is definitely detrimental to your health. So what happens is, let's say, and here's what I'll hear is people will say, oh well, I've done fasting. Intermittent is a tough word for me to say. I've done intermittent fasting before. And I'm like, oh, well, how did that go? Oh, it worked when I could stick with it. I hear the same thing with keto, right? And I'm like, well, then it didn't work because you couldn't stick with it, because that's not what it's built for. It's built for short-term results. And then you move on from it and you gain all your results back. We have a different philosophy of sustainable lifestyle changes. So we hope that we can teach you how to keep your results forever. That's my main goal when we work with our members. But understanding that, so paying attention to what's happening the night before, getting up early enough and having everything prepped in advance so you have your breakfast, let's say, because usually it's breakfast I see people missing. And then moving on from that mindset of, oh, I'm just going to fast when it's convenient for me, because I forgot to prep and don't have any breakfast prepared and I'm too busy this morning, right? That's just a limiting mindset, which is hard for a lot of people to hear, but maybe it's worth mentioning for some of you that have an open mind and are willing to learn, I suppose. Rhonda says, morning meals is a huge challenge for me. Yeah, you're not the only one. And I'll give you a suggestion here. One of the things that we suggest is, or let me finish here. So if you're skipping meals, what happens is it slows your metabolism, okay? So what we see, and I don't know why it's like this, or the industry is like this, it's just not clear, but in most cases, we don't see people come to us that are overeating. They may be overeating one meal, but in most cases, and I'm saying like 99% of the time, people are overweight because they have a slow metabolism, and you have a slow metabolism because you're not eating enough. You may be eating a huge giant meal at one time in the evening, or maybe you have like a big lunch and then a big supper and maybe they're low quality foods like you're eating out or it's fast food, that could be considered overeating. But it's very rare like someone comes to me and says and I'm like, whoa, you eat too much. It's almost always your metabolism is too slow, at least the women that we work with. Your metabolism is too slow because you're not getting enough nutrient dense foods. You're not getting the calories your body needs, and that usually starts earlier in the day. So that's why I mentioned breakfast, because if you're sleeping in, getting up late, you're rushing, you don't have your days or priorities set. Like if you don't have your days planned and your priorities set and your life is chaos, that's what's happening. What's happening is you're not planning and prepping in advance. So you say, okay, this is what time my breakfast is. This is what I need to prep in the beforehand. And this is how I'm going to make sure I'm on track with my meals starting earlier in the day. So it's not, oh, I got too busy. It's 10 o'clock. I'm going to try to have a snack. Then it's 2 o'clock and you're going to have lunch. And then finally you get home at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and you have a big dinner. And then um, you have a sedentary evening. You're scrolling, Netflixing, and then your body doesn't have the nutrients it needs. So what happens is you go to the pantry and your body's craving um, usually sugary, maybe salty, high sodium types of snack foods, right? I think that pretty much summed up a high percentage of women that come our way that start working with us. And what we do is we change their routines, we change their habits, we start getting them to eat earlier and get their nutrients in, and then they start to turn their bodies into fat burning machines. You've seen just recently, it's like I'm blown away by these ladies. Like just recently, the ones we just put together some testimonials, so these ones are top of mind. Moira's down like over 20 pounds, looking amazing. We've been sharing her progress pictures if you haven't seen them. I think how many Cheryl's down like 18 pounds. I just did a full interview with her. I think she's down 18 pounds in like 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Danielle's down 56 pounds. It's unreal. And so I mean, that's what we do. Like if you are able to follow a step-by-step program, we can get you set up for success that will turn your body into a fat burning machine. And you'll drop inches, you'll feel better. It's not just about the weight, but those numbers are surprisingly, I mean, people like to hear tangible results, right? But we have one of our members that is off, used to have Pepto-Bismol every couple days, which is fine. So we work on digestion, gut bacteria, increasing confidence, better sleep, reduce chronic pain. Like, I'm so grateful for the position I'm in to be able to work with these ladies. So skipping, just want to go over my notes here. Skipping meals, so slows your metabolism. And then, of course, it spikes sugar cravings, usually in the evenings. That's what we see. And then so this leads to stress on the body because your metabolism is all over the place. Like it's really slow. That's why those crash diets are so detrimental to your health, because those crash diets, they could speed up your metabolism and everything's functioning quickly, but it's not a sustainable manner. So then your metabolism, everything is working great, and then it's not sustainable, so it drops and you stop. So maybe you lose weight really quickly, and it's worse the more weight you lose in the shorter amount of time, because then your metabolism kicks in, and your metabolism is there to protect your body. So your metabolism says, wait, stop. I need to protect you from starvation. That's what our metabolism was meant for, is to slow down when we weren't getting enough food, to speed up and burn that food as energy when we have more food going through our system, so we can burn body fat at a higher rate. It's not this made up thing. Like, this is how our body works, and it's been working like this for generations, and it's just like a new thing for us to be like, let's try all these things so we can lose as quick weight as quickly as possible, and you destroy your natural metabolism, like your natural body functions. That's why hormones are all out of whack. We can't sleep. Night sweats, like some of these, as your body changes, is normal to an extent, but you don't have to live this life of like your body is just entirely inflamed because it doesn't know what's happening. It doesn't know what you're going to do. It's what you're going to do to it next, what diet you're going to try, what toxic substances you're going to put into it. So once you start to put your body through a step-by-step process and start to move, like It knows what's coming. It knows to react. It's not such a defense mechanism because it's worried all the time. Like your body's like in a stressful state because it never knows what you're going to do to it next. But Rhonda mentioned that the morning, like for us, the easiest thing that we can recommend is our protein shake. So if you ours is, for example, is clean. All the ingredients are fermented, organic, and or sprouted. So this isn't going to cause indigestion or we hear a lot of people say that, oh, they tried protein powders, but it gave them constipation. We actually have digestive enzymes in our product. And then there's clear research around what we call 30-30-30, and we teach this in our program. So 30 grams of protein with 30 grams of exercise within 30 minutes of waking up. So there's clear research around this is a great way to increase your metabolism, burn body fat, and drop inches, weight, etc. So if you take, for example, if you take 25 grams of protein and you shake that up, you can put some milk in there, you can put water in there. And then our newest product, if you missed it, if you haven't caught our launch, it's our organic collagen. We're the only Canadian company selling organic collagen, which is pretty cool. Very few companies are selling organic collagen at all. And I don't want to get into it too much because we did a full launch. I was hoping as many people as possible would watch our launch and watch our full training, because I feel like it's going to be one of those products of like, oh, you're selling that too, because it seems like everyone's selling it. But I really held back from, even though this was our number one requested product of which collagen should I take, and are you going to be bringing out a collagen? I held off for over 2 years thinking about it, doing research, considering if it was a good fit for us. And I finally found a Canadian manufacturer that offered the best quality collagen that I could find. So as organic, we have higher standards than non. We have proper sourcing. You can track the hide. We have a different process than I would say any other company, but at least most companies. We don't have a gelatin process in there. The absorbability is amazing. And you can tell by how it dissolves. Like if you put a scoop of collagen in your hot liquid and it clumps, there's a problem there, and a lot of them do. So ours dissolves instantly. There's no taste, very little smell. Anyways, I'll carry on from there. But so ours has 11 grams of protein per scoop. So if you have 25 grams of protein in one scoop of protein, like vanilla protein, and then you put another scoop in of your collagen, you're over your 30 grams of what you need, which is what is suggested for optimal results early on. So hopefully that's clear enough. So I personally, for our members, I teach them how to set that up the night before, and part of our morning routine is creating that. So I usually put MCT oil. If not, I put that on my breakfast. So I get that shot of that first thing in the morning. And then I put in our collagen, our vanilla protein, and then I put in a teaspoon of maca. Maca is great for hormone regulation, great for natural energy boost. It's an adaptogen. So just think about that, for example. Like you have a jam-packed, hormone balancing, mental clearing. You could consider it a breakfast. It's like supplement shake first thing in the morning to start your day off. Now consider having nothing in your system till 10 o'clock, or the first thing that you put in your system at 8 or 8:30 in the morning is coffee with sugar and creamer, and or a pastry or a muffin or a donut because you're starving, and that's all that's around. But which do you think is going to make you feel better? Which will make you perform better? Which will make you healthier? Like it's a clear option, right? So that's what I would suggest. I'm getting a little long-winded here. I still have 3 tips. Let's see if we can fly through them. Over-exercising, my tip number 3 is over-exercising. Mostly, so I'm speaking specifically for women over 40. So that's our demographic. That's who we work with. So there's 2 different avenues we see. Often women aren't doing anything for exercise, which it makes it very difficult to see results. And number 2, which is a lower percentage, but we still see it, is women in this age group where we are working out too hard or too often. And I know that sounds like, I don't know, it doesn't sound all that positive because you're like, oh, I think I'm doing everything right. am exercising every day. So what happens is if you're doing exercising too hard, so let's say Olympic lifting, just for example, it's rare, but it happens. You're putting your body into a stressful state for a duration, and it's happening every day, right? So every day you're putting your body in an extreme state of being, which increases your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone. And it's like, what is happening? Like, what are you doing to me? So it's actually holding on to body fat. So we've had this with members coming in that have been working out too often or too hard, and we scale them back and we put them on a more sustainable program, less injuries, more energy. They're not exhausted. They don't think they have to hold their head over the garbage can after their workout, and they feel better overall. Okay, what we're doing is we're putting their state of being in a relaxed state. We drop the cortisol levels, and then their body starts to burn body fat. So you could consider there's actual science to this. A lot of times people just like go full tilt, and what happens is those types of people are usually all or nothing. So they're working out 6 days a week, full tilt as hard as they can, not seeing any results, so they get exhausted, and then they take a couple weeks off, and then they have to start all over again, and then they go full tilt, burn themselves out, and they take 1, 2, or 3 weeks off, and then they got to start all over again. And this is a perpetual vicious cycle that we continue to see with certain individuals. So working out too hard or too often without a set plan or program will make a big difference in your life for results. And then on top of that, looking at, oh my gosh, I lost it. Where? Oh, too much cardio, gosh. So to see the results you're hoping for, you're not able to replace resistance training with cardio. So often, especially women in this age group, because no one's taught them how to do resistance training, they don't know how to do a proper push-up, or they're intimidated to go to the weight section. They go to the elliptical, or they go to the treadmill, and they run, or elliptical. And what happens is you're actually burning muscle mass instead of body fat. So resistance training, consider being stronger. For resistance training, the more muscle mass you have, the more your metabolism speeds up, and the more results you'll see. If you're looking at hours of cardio and replacing cardio, well, I went for a walk instead of my resistance training workout. Doesn't translate to the results you're hoping for. Or I like to run or do cardio instead of resistance training because you're more comfortable with it, right? It doesn't translate to the results you're looking for. You need a proper resistance training program. And on top of that, if you're 40 plus and you are losing muscle mass at a rapid rate, so to counteract that, you have to have a high protein diet and you have to do resistance training exercises to actually build muscle. And if you're not doing that, you're losing muscle. And what happens is we see women more brittle types of bones, so osteoporosis, and then we're looking at joint health, which is why I think collagen is probably a product every woman should be consuming at this stage in their life. But joint health in particular, because we have we don't have the muscle mass. We don't have the muscle to sustain regular day-to-day activities, right? So hopefully that was helpful. I wrote down here, like there is a place for cardio. Like we can add in cardio. It's just, you don't replace it. It's a great idea to get outside and go for a walk, get some fresh air, get some vitamin D, reset your vision. Like when the sun hits your eyes without sunglasses, there's a whole different chemistry that happens in your body, which we need. And we don't get enough of that being inside with these lights. And then we're outside and all we wear is sunglasses. Like that's a big problem. So what we need to do is get outside and breathe fresh air and get sunshine, and get natural sources of vitamin D. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing resistance training exercises. All right, number 4. Let's see if we can wrap this up in 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. If you guys have to jump off, it's no problem at all. So buying supplements without reading labels is a big problem, because a lot of times people think that all supplements are created equally, and the problem is they're not. You get what you pay for in anything in life, especially when it comes to supplementation. So we see people going to the pharmacy, we see them going to the discount rack at the grocery store. You could go to Costco to find low quality supplements. Like Usually the bigger, bulkier types of the products that you have are the lower quality. You have to look at name brands and what those companies stand for. Some companies are out there just to make money. And it's clear, like if I were to look at this source of product, I noticed that, I'm not going to mention the company, but I noticed that when I was doing more research around collagen in particular, like this product is very low quality. It doesn't say antibiotic free, grass fed, none of that. It doesn't say ethical sourcing. It just has um, a fit woman on the container that says burn body fat with collagen, and it's just collagen. And then look at the ingredients. It has artificial flavoring, artificial coloring. It had sucralose as a flavor, which damages your gut microbiome. Like, so that product there, someone would pick up, not knowing that there's a difference between collagens, that there's a difference between supplements, that these low quality ingredients are going to destroy your health instead of help it. They're going to grab it and be like, oh, well, I want to look like that, and it says burn body fat. Sold. So they take it home and they start taking it and they see no results and maybe some digestion issues from it, and don't think to connect the two. Like, oh, it's actually my collagen that's ruining my health. And I'll tell you, that happened to me firsthand. When I was in college, they told us that we should be supplementing and having a bunch of protein and taking protein powders, and I didn't know any different. So I had this whole, like later on, as I would continue to move through the different levels of college and university, I had this whole literally a tackle box full of supplements that I'd carry around. I had a cooler of food. What else did I have? On top of my fridge was full of different protein powders, pre-stacks, post-workout nonsense. And I used to get these terrible headaches right in the back of my head. And I didn't sleep well. I was nasally, I was moody, I was immobile, I was prone to injury. And then I started to read ingredients and I was like, oh my gosh, these products are actually destroying my health. They're not improving them. So I started reading ingredients and I started to get away from the conventional types of supplements. And I was in my dorm rooms creating my own stack of supplements. And that's kind of how I got into supplementation, the short of the short. But I don't think we realize that you're going to grab a bunch of low quality supplements hoping they're going to improve your health, and they don't. So you should really start to pay attention to ingredients and educate yourself on what's in the products that you're consuming. You should always check sourcing, reading the ingredients, reading labels. I'm not talking about the nutritional value, right? Or what is that little box? The box is like how many calories. Don't worry about that. You should look at the ingredients. Look at the non-medicinal ingredients, actually. That's where I start. Anyways, that's the reason that we didn't get into collagen early on, and that's the reason we found the cleanest collagen that I could possibly find, and finally decided that it was good enough for me to put our logo and name on it. The last one is trying to do everything alone. I see this so often. Gosh, I will jump on a call with someone and they'll tell me everything that's happening in their life, and they'll tell me they've been struggling for 20 years, and I'll say, well, have you worked with a coach? Like, well, I've tried a personal trainer here and there, I've dabbled in some fitness classes. I'm like, well, have you had a program specific to your needs? Have you had like an actual coach to work with? No, like for the past 5 years I've pretty much been doing it on my own, trying to figure it out. Like, okay, well, do you think this is a good time to find some help, some accountability, some structure, some support? Yeah, let's do that. And then we get into, it's going to be work. I start to explain the program. You have to put in effort. There's going to be meal planning. There's going to be meal prep. You have to work out. And they're like, oh my gosh, well, you know what? I think I'm just going to keep doing it on my own and see if I can figure this out. And I think to myself, gosh, you just told me you've been trying to figure it out on your own for the last 5 to 20 years. How much longer do you want to wait? So I think that's a real struggle. But I mean, I understand the challenges. The challenge is a lot of times people don't know who to hire, who to trust. They don't want to waste their money. And there's so much nonsense out there. I mean, that's why we're here, hoping to shine some light on actual truth around supplementation, healthy living, etc. But trying to figure out this all on your own is a constant uphill battle and a struggle that you'll probably be going through for the rest of your life, if I was to be fair. If you don't find someone, I'll tell you that for business wise, I didn't hire a coach. I didn't hire a business coach for years because I thought I was a failure. if I had to hire a business coach to figure out how to run my business. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Every successful business owner has had a coach or had a mentor or had someone to help them. And I didn't really have anyone like that as I was coming up, struggling, learning how to run a business. I didn't take one business class in university. I had a major in criminal justice and a minor in sociology. And I was like, after professional sports, I was like, I'm just going to start a business. Great idea, right? No, it was a terrible idea. But you have people out there that know exactly how business works. They know how to create margins and bring products to market and how to run your numbers and how to serve your clients and customer retention. Like there's so much to it, but it's no different. Like running a business and finances are very closely linked to your health. And I see so many similarities. One of my good friends is a financial advisor and a hedge fund investor, and we talk all the time. And he has almost the exact same stories I have in the financially as health, which is pretty cool. But continuing to try to struggle on your own is an uphill battle. It really is, and that's just the truth. That's what I'm going to leave you with today. Is that if you need some help, you can reach out and see if we're a good fit to help you see the results you're looking for. Otherwise, I'm going to let you go. Oh, real quick is we had our launch giveaways. We have 3 giveaways. We're going to announce those today right here in this Ageless Energy Facebook group. If you're watching this on another platform, facebook.com/agelessenergy. You can send a request to come into our private group. And then, what else was I going to tell you? I guess the rest is on our website, trueformlife.com. If you're interested in our Metabolism Accelerator program, or if you're interested in any of the supplements that I mentioned, you can find it there. Otherwise, thanks for joining live, and have a wonderful day. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.